This past week, Florida's Attorney General announced the settlement of a 2-year-long investigation into alleged sketchy gym membership contracts. But you know, it can be really tough to read a contract, all the fine print and the big words. So we called in Shari to help us out with all of this. And that is tough. But what happened in this case with this gym that led to the investigation?
Sure. So in this particular case, almost 150 people actually complained, which, as you said, is unusual because you're not talking about big dollars, so a lot of the time people don't complain. And the allegations were basically that the company was advertising no obligation, no commitment, which was not true. They weren't fully disclosing all the actual fees and commitments, and then they were continuing to charge customers a monthly fee even after they tried to cancel the contract. This is not, I mean, this company happens to be local. They have over 60 locations in our state, many right in our area here, but this is certainly not unique to this gym company.
Well, an extra $10 here and there over 60 membership or 60 clubs with memberships, that's a lot of big money all of a sudden.
And we get emails like this about gyms from viewers all the time.
So how was the situation resolved?
Well, sure. They basically signed an agreement with the Attorney General's office, not admitting anything, but it was an assurance of voluntary compliance, agreed to provide full disclosures in writing clearly up front, agreed to give everyone a copy of their contract before it actually gets signed, train the employees so the employees understand the policies, and locate a general manager in each location who can respond to these different issues.
Yeah, I mean, when you ask questions, sometimes the employees don't understand it completely. That's a really good point.
Well, and sometimes they're being paid a commission which isn't fully disclosed. Maybe they get a bigger commission if they upsell you. So it's like asking a waiter what they recommend, and they recommend the most expensive item on the menu.
It's a good point. So what laws apply to gym memberships, and what do people need to be aware of if they're getting into some type of contract with a gym membership to make sure it doesn't happen?
Sure. And the good news is that there are some things that you can do. So, for example, it's the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services here in Florida that govern health clubs and gyms. So the first thing you want to do is look for that registration. Once you see that, you can check the department's website for complaints. Also look on the internet for any complaints. That registration has to be prominently displayed on the desk and in all advertisements. Also, many people think that gym contracts are not negotiable. Oftentimes they are, so you should try. And then there are a couple issues that we're always hearing about with these types of contracts. So you want to review that contract in advance. You want to look for the term, how long you're obligating yourself for, but you also want to look for the payment provision. So, for example, many of them require automatic payments on your credit card. If you're going to do that, make sure your credit card is like American Express. They'll allow you to unilaterally call them and stop the charges if you decide to cancel, because that's a big area we see. You cancel, but they don't cancel the charges. People don't complain over $30. You can also make sure that you understand the termination procedures, because sometimes they have funky procedures almost on purpose so that you miss. You got to show up, you got to sign a certain form, those kinds of things. And then the other thing, Roxanne, is the law requires a 3-day cooling off period. Take advantage of that. During those 3 days after you sign the contract, get to that gym a bunch of times. Make sure everything's what you think it's going to be, and make sure you understand the deals with the trainers. Sometimes people get caught in between. They pay a trainer, they think they're paying the gym, and they're not really sure about that.
Great advice. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Ask questions. Not everybody understands these contracts. You're not alone.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Shari, for your time this morning. We appreciate it.